Hello, and welcome to Law Talk. My name is John Celebrezze, and I'm the co-founder of the Celebrezze Community Legal Education Project, as we call it, CZ-CLEP for short. Our organization provides continuing education about the judiciary and legislature to attorneys, judges, government officials, and the general public. As a career educator, I recognize early on how important legal matters are and how they impact our lives. I am the nephew of the late Anthony J. Celebrezze, who was the popular 5-term mayor of Cleveland and a member of President Kennedy's cabinets. As a tribute to his lifetime commitment to the legal process, we dedicate this show.
John's special guests today are Carol A. Lawler, Director of the Medina County Board of Elections, and Carol D. Gurney, Deputy Director of the Medina County Board of Elections.
Ladies, welcome to Law Talk.
Oh, thanks for having us.
Well, it's a great day when we have two members of the Medina County Board of Elections. We have the director and the deputy director, and guess what? They're both called Carol, right?
Yes.
So we have Carol and Carol.
Right. That's what we're known as.
All right. That must make for some fun days down there when. I guess maybe if you have complaints, you could say, oh, no, you've got the wrong Carol. It's got to be the other one, right? I mean, for sure. Okay. Carol Lawler, you are...
I'm the director. Yes.
Okay. And that's a position you've held for how long, Carol?
I've been director since March of this year.
Okay. And Carol, you are the deputy director, and how long have you had that position?
Since July of last year.
I see. Okay. All right. Well, you are both getting ready for your biggest experience, not only for an annual basis, but maybe every 4 years. It's a presidential election coming your way here real quick, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, this is on everybody's mind, so you ladies will be front and center real quick. I just want a little bit of a disclaimer for our viewers, and we're very pleased now that our show is now syndicated into both Stark and Wayne counties. What the ladies will be discussing, for the most part, will be generic questions about folks voting throughout the state of Ohio. They are, of course, located here in Medina, and that's where the show is coming from. But I think you'll see that with a few specific things, which we will highlight, what they're going to be telling you pretty much applies all over. So you folks down in Wayne County and Stark County, hopefully you can benefit from this as well. Okay, fair treatment. I'm going to go back and forth. And Carol, I'm going to start with you, not for any particular reason, not pulling rank that you're the director or anything like that. But here goes. Here's your first question. I did mark some questions down and thought maybe my viewers would be interested. When is the deadline for voters to register to be eligible to vote in the November 6th presidential election?
Well, the deadline will be Tuesday, October the 9th, and you need to be registered 30 days before an election to be eligible to vote.
I see.
And we're going to have extra hours that day.
Here in Medina, you'll have extra hours?
Right, in Medina, we'll be open from 8 a.m. till 9 p.m.
Okay.
On the last day to register. If you need to register or to change your address or name, you need to do all that on that day.
And Carol, for the benefit of our Medina viewers, where is your office located?
We are located at 4210 North Jefferson, and that's we're in the building with the health department on the corner of Ledgewood and North Jefferson.
Not too far from the Walmart store there.
Right
across the
very
street.
Close.
Okay, so coming up pretty quick here, you say October the 9th?
October 9th is the deadline to register.
Okay, and that's it. I mean, once you pass that date, not on this election, right?
Not unless you're registered in Ohio.
Okay. Well, there's our first tidbit of information. If you want in on this, you got till October the 9th. Carol, we'll hear from our deputy director. Carol, can you explain a little bit about provisional ballots?
Yes, actually, provisional ballots are gets to one of the most important rules for what voters need to deal with on Election Day. And that is, on Election Day, you must vote in the precinct that is assigned to the address that you are currently living at.
I see.
So if you go to the polls on Election Day and our records don't match your current address or your current name, then you're going to be a provisional voter. And what that means is you will vote a paper ballot and you will be given a yellow envelope that you will put your paper ballot in after you voted it. And on that envelope, you will put your name and your identification and your signature.
Okay.
And then on the back of that envelope, there's a place where you can update all of your registration information to your current address or your current name. Now, we have a very formal process that we have to go through with provisional ballots, and that basically means that on election day, those ballots come back to our office, but we don't count them election night. We actually take the time to go through each of those envelopes and first validate that you were a registered voter in the state of Ohio. Anywhere in the state of Ohio is fine, and that you didn't vote at that current address, at your previous address that you had. And once we verified that you are a registered voter and you didn't do that voting, we will then count that ballot, and then we will use that information that's on the back of that envelope to update your registration. So actually the Secretary of State, John Husted, he likes to say that provisional voting is actually the second chance for voters to vote who forget to update their registration by that October 9th deadline.
That's interesting. This concept of provisional voters, Carol, I see periodically comes up in the newspaper or of various articles, sometimes even a little controversial, but purely from the practicality of it, okay, maybe I can just use myself as an example. If I move into town and I somehow managed to go where I thought I was supposed to vote, my precinct, but I got in the wrong place. Okay, and that could have happened for a number of reasons. An honest answer, wasn't my fault. So if I'm hearing, I'll still have the opportunity to vote there.
Well, the first thing that the poll workers would do is ask you what your current address is that you're living at, and then if you were in the wrong precinct, they would direct you to the correct precinct for you to vote in.
Okay, so if I physically got myself in the wrong place, I'm supposed to be across town, the poll workers, the folks over there, they'll tell me where I need to go.
Correct.
Okay, well then...
Then you go to that polling location, but you're not in the book, or your information in that book is not matching your current address. That's when you vote.
That's when we do the provisional
voting.
Okay, that's so there's no match there. So rather than lose my opportunity, I can do the provisional. But on election night, these votes are not counted like absentee votes. They're
Correct.
held and counted at a later date.
Correct.
I see. Okay. All right. That's pretty interesting. Okay. Imagine that really makes your life interesting on election day too, doesn't it?
Yeah, and after election day also.
Yeah, people, well, I mean, I can remember every time I go to vote, obviously they have these big rolls and you're looking for your name, and hopefully they'll ask, they ask you your address and you sign.
Right.
But I can imagine if something doesn't jibe here, that's where we need the provisional ballots. Well, we're fortunate to have them.
Yes,
about it.
very fortunate.
Okay, well, Carol, back to you. We'll toss the ball back to you. Is it true that voters may change their address online?
It's something new that the Ohio Secretary of State just put into practice this past August. You can go online to www.myohiovote.com, and you can go online with no paperwork if you're already registered in Ohio. You can change your address by giving your key ID information. It has to match exactly. And then you can change your address, but if you would want to change your name, or you aren't registered yet, it'll just prompt you to print out a form that you can then fill out and either mail to our office or bring in. And then we can.
That certainly
do
makes
that.
it very convenient. Of course, we live in the online world now.
Right.
If you would be so kind, Carol, again, because I'm going to ask our production people to put this on the screen.
Okay.
Would you say that www address one more time?
Sure. It's www.myohiovote.com.
My Ohio Vote. Okay.
Right.
Okay, well, there you are, ladies and gentlemen, if you need to get online. But does our October 9th date still apply here?
Yes, that is the deadline.
Whether you're going down in person or you're going
Right.
online, October 9th is the
Right.
day.
Right.
Can't emphasize that date enough. And you say this online opportunity is new just of this election? Or?
Yes, just August 9th. It just became available.
I
It's a
see.
new program.
Oh, okay.
Right?
So
A lot
you're-
of people have taken advantage of it too.
Boy, you ladies are really getting quite a baptism down there at the Board of Election. You got a presidential election coming. You have online activity. Okay, this will be good.
Yes.
Okay, well, I'm sure you'll do just fine. Online registration. Okay. Let's just say, for the benefit of those people that maybe don't have a computer or just maybe aren't real comfortable with it, what are other ways you could register?
We have several agencies that we work with that get registrations out to the people
Yeah.
for us. The schools, the libraries, the Bureau of Motor Vehicles. You can go ahead and come into our office too, even, or
You just
call
walk
us.
through your front door
Come and just say, I'd like
somebody
to
will give you a
register to
form.
vote. Right. Or
I see.
say, I can't get into your office. Would you mail something to me? We can always mail you paperwork.
I see. Okay. All right. So online, various agencies. When you say the Bureau of Motor Vehicles, like you go on get your license plates. or
Right,
something?
where you get your license renewed, get your plates. That's
Okay.
the office that they also do registration there.
Okay. So then you are all working together that way.
Yes.
All right. Carol, we're back to you.
Okay.
And we'll toss the ball your way. Good topic here. We hear a lot about this one. When does absentee voting begin?
Well, there's actually two types of absentee voting. You can vote by mail absentee, or you can vote in person absentee.
Okay.
And starting on September 22nd is when our military and overseas voters began voting. We actually mailed or emailed their ballots to them last Saturday. And on October 2nd is when the rest of the voters in the state of Ohio will begin early voting. Either we will be mailing ballots to the people who've already sent their applications to us, or they can come to our office and start voting in person on October 2nd.
This whole concept of absentee voting, at least in my lifetime, is something that has evolved. Wasn't it true at one time you could only be an absentee voter if you had, like, let's say, a physical handicap or some very special reasons?
Yes, it used to be, I can't remember exactly when the law changed, but it was, I believe, before the last presidential election even, that you had to have a specific reason. When you filled out your form, there were certain boxes that you could check the reason why you were voting absentee. You were going to be out of town on business. I
see.
remember one of the reasons, but the law changed, and now there is no reason anybody can vote absentee,
Anybody can.
vote early.
Let's walk one. I'll be the guinea pig again. I wanna vote absentee for whatever my reason. I don't even have to have a reason. I just want to vote absentee, right? Okay. All right. So that's the law now. Okay. Somehow you folks down at the Board of Elections need to know that I want to do this.
Correct.
So you said something about an application.
Correct. Everyone who votes absentee, and you actually are doing this whether you're voting by mail or person, fills out an absentee application form.
Yeah.
And that basically is asking for your name, your birth date, a form of ID, typically, which is either the last 4 digits of your driver's license or, I'm sorry, the last 4 digits of your social security number or your driver's license number, and then your signature. And then using that information, we validate all of that information against our records before
Okay.
issuing a ballot, an early absentee ballot.
So somehow, before I could vote absentee, the end game here, I have to have this application in my hand and I have to fill it out.
Correct.
All right, if I'm going to have to go down to the Board of Elections to get this application, why don't I just register to vote while I'm down there? Well, I guess I am already registered to vote.
But that would make sense to do. There is a time frame where actually people can register to vote and vote absentee.
Okay, we're going to get to that. All right, because that's interesting.
But the way
Well,
that people are getting their absentee
how-
applications this time is
Yeah.
actually through a mass mailing that the Secretary of State has done for all registered voters in the state of
Oh.
Ohio.
Okay, because that's different. That's new.
That is
Lots
brand
of
new.
Yes.
new things going on in
Yes.
your lives, aren't there?
Yes,
Quite
lots
a
of
bit.
All right,
Yes.
so I guess I better check my mail. So everybody in the Celebrezze household as a registered voter should be getting an absentee ballot coming in the mail.
Yes, actually, over Labor Day, right after Labor Day is when the Secretary of State started mailing out the applications.
Yeah, excuse me, I said that wrong. I said an absentee ballot, but not yet. It starts with an application, right?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay, the application comes. If I choose to use it, I got to fill it out,
Right.
and I got to send it back to my Board of Elections.
Correct.
Right? Okay. when you guys get that, you'd update everything. At some point in time, are you going to send me a ballot?
Right, that would be starting October 2nd.
Okay. That's coming up pretty quick.
Coming up quick.
All right, so I could probably have cast my vote almost a month before the election then.
Correct.
All right, what do I do, Carol, once in the privacy of my own home versus in a voting booth or, yeah, I could mark my X's or whatever.
Right.
You're going to give me an envelope to send that back?
We provide you an envelope. We tell you what the postage is going to be for you to return that to the Board of Elections. If you didn't want to drop it in the mail, you could always drive it over and just give it to us at our office. And we make sure that you have filled out all the proper information on the envelope that you have to put your ballot into, and that it's sealed, and then we hold that application, that ballot until Election Day, and we count it on Election Day.
Okay. All right. So the application went out, it came back. I could feasibly get my ballot as early as October the 2nd. But this has got to go on for a while. What would be the very latest? I mean, like everybody else, I sent the application, you sent me my ballot, and said, yeah, I'm going to vote. But I didn't get it done today. When's the deadline?
Well, the latest you can request the application for the ballot is on the Saturday before the election.
Okay.
We would have to receive in the mail at our office your request for the application.
For the ballot.
For the ballot.
All right.
Then when you actually have the ballot in your hand, we need to receive the ballot back at our office by the close of polls on Election Day.
Oh, okay.
So one important thing about that, though, is if you're planning on putting that in the mail to come back to the Board of Elections,
yeah.
Let's say you have to do that the day before the election. The envelope needs to be stamped with a mark that says that it was mailed the day before the elections. And in today's electronic world, I suggest you go into the post office with your envelope and ask them to hand stamp your envelope so that there's a visible postmark on that envelope saying it was mailed the day before the election.
So in this case, Carol, it's going to be November 5th.
Yes.
The day before.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. Boy, you guys got a lot of things coming and going now, don't you? You got
It's very busy.
applications went out, but they went to everybody in the state of Ohio via the Secretary of States.
Correct.
That's correct.
Correct.
All right. Then those of us voters who opt to do this send it to our local Board of Elections. Medina, it's you two ladies. And
Right.
Stark and Wayne, it'll be the Boards of Elections there. Okay. That thing turns around pretty fast. That ballot comes back to me pretty quick, or?
Yeah. I mean, right now they're being held. Everybody's been sending applications, and
Yeah,
they're all
sure.
being held until October 2nd.
But
But
that's
yes.
going to be next Tuesday. So
Yes.
after that, there's going to be this give and take.
Yep. I would say within a week for sure of receiving your
Right.
application, you should be getting your ballot back in the mail.
Boy, I bet you and your local postman are getting along just fine these days.
This is true.
Wow. Okay. Did you deliberately give her that question so she had to explain that? Wow, that
Yeah,
was-
she had a lot to talk
yeah,
about.
she
yes.
did a good job, did she? You're a good boss. You had that planned out very well. Okay. All right, well, I got one for you now.
Okay.
Are there extended hours for voting?
Yes. The first 3 weeks, starting October 2nd, the first day to absentee vote, we are going to be open Monday through Friday from 8 to 5.
Okay.
And then the last 2 weeks right before the election will be open Monday through Friday, 8 to 7. Now, these were hours that were formally given out from the Secretary of
Okay.
State's office. All offices will be closed Monday, October 8th for Columbus Day.
Sure.
And then that last day to register, October 9th, we will be open 8 a.m. till 9 p.m.
Long day
to
that
allow
day.
extra. But
Okay.
right now, the last day that we have scheduled to vote absentee is the Friday right before the election.
Yeah.
And that's just 8 a.m. till 6 p.m.
Okay.
And that last weekend is still uncertain what the hours will be given out to us from the Secretary of State.
Carol, does the Board of Elections actually have their own website? So if somebody wanted to go to it, they could actually check the hours there?
Yes, we have quite a bit of information on our website. You could just Google Medina County Board of Elections, and you can access your voter information. Where do you go to vote? Are
Okay.
you registered? Get a sample ballot to look at
anything you
ahead
want
of
there.
time. Study your ballot.
Can you see those hours?
You
that
can see our
that you just
hours
explained?
And all kind of information about registering and all.
And I'm sure the other boards of elections, other counties have the same
Yes,
thing.
yes.
Okay. What about, I think this was a little bit of a controversial area. What about that weekend right before?
Right.
Can people vote?
Well, that's the one that is still under appeal.
So we don't know yet.
We aren't sure. We do not have set hours out there yet.
Okay. All right.
So
okay.
as soon as we find out from
Good.
Secretary of State that we'll have that information out there for everybody, and whatever we are told to do,
Okay.
we believe will be also uniform hours throughout the state.
Sure, sure. And that would be something when you do find out, when the court finally acts on it,
Yes.
that you would put up on your website as well?
Oh yes, on the website. We've even put ads in the local papers and on the county website, different places
Okay.
to get our word out there.
Okay. So aside from a presidential election, everybody gets to vote absentee. Well, applications go out to everybody in the world. You guys, well, everybody in the state, but you know, whatever. All right, that's good. So now you even get to wait on the Court of Appeals, I guess, to decide whether you're going to have that. Yeah. Boy, ladies,
Constant change.
I wish you really the best here. I mean, you really are doing a
Thank
great
you.
job with some certainties and uncertainties. Well, I'll tell you one thing. I'll give you this much. I pop in and out of your place periodically, and you have the most friendly people I've ever want to see in your life. They're always more
great
than
to hear.
willing to
Thank
help
you.
you. And as soon as you come through the door, I mean, you know, what can I do for you? So I suppose if somebody really has a question, go down and ask.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, Carol, we're back to you. We'll see if we can get another humdinger here for you.
Okay.
Here, all right? Okay. I think she's going to owe you supper when this is over or something like that. All right. Where can voters go to vote an early absentee ballot in person? That's a good
There's
question.
only one place in Medina County that you can vote, and that is at the Board of Elections office. As Carol said, that's 4210 North Jefferson
Okay.
Street, and we that's the only location in the whole county for all early voting for Medina County.
So if you're not going to your precinct, which could be a school or a church or all the place where you always go vote, then you got to come to you.
Yes.
You got to go down on Jefferson Street.
Right.
You know, okay. And you guys have regular voting booths or machines set up in there?
Yes, we do. We actually start at the beginning of the voting time will be right in our office in a small room, but then as it gets closer to the election, we move over to a larger conference room to accommodate what we anticipate being the larger crowd showing up.
I see.
It's all within the health department.
But that pretty well, though, I mean, it's a pretty rudimentary question, I guess, but for somebody who really, there could be a lot of reasons why somebody wants to come vote there early, you know. It's pretty much the same drill as if you went to your local school. I mean, you sign in, you just come up to the counter, and there'll be the book.
No, because you're voting absentee, so
Yeah.
you're filling out that application.
Oh, okay.
And providing us the same information as if you had requested your ballot to be mailed to you.
But the difference being, you're going to walk over to the machine and get the ballot then.
Right. After you fill out that application and we validate your information that you
So
put
it
on
is
that.
a little different. Obviously, you got to do that application first.
Correct.
But then somebody will escort you to the machine
Yep.
and
you'll get your ballot and
going.
vote on the machine.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. Well, that's making it pretty easy. Well, I guess there could be reasons why somebody would want to do that if you were going to be out of town or something. And you know, okay, or if you got your mind made up and you just want to get it done, do it. Man. All right, Carol, we're back to you. If they don't want to or are unable to vote, meaning people or prospective voters in person, how can voters get absentee ballots?
Okay, well, they can go online and print one off for themselves,
Okay.
a form out. They can come into our office and vote or ask for an application, or call us and say, would you please mail an application out to me?
Okay. All right. This application drives the whole thing, though, doesn't it?
Yes,
An absentee.
yes.
Okay.
We need to verify that the right person
Sure.
is getting the ballot.
But this is sort of it's not sort of, I mean, it is a landmark election for the state of
Yes.
Ohio. I mean, I understand, just casual conversation with my colleagues about voting over the years. different states do things differently. I think there's one state in the union, I'm not sure what it is. I'm going to say Washington, but I could be wrong, that all the voting is just done by mail.
Yes.
But so I mean, each state has the option of doing this to some degree, however they want it.
Some control.
Okay, but in the case of us in the state of Ohio, Mr. Husted being our current Secretary of State, the powers that be said, we're sending an application out to everybody. That's the unique thing about this election.
Right, right.
It would be kind of interesting to see at the end of the day, you know, when you guys have a lot more time on your hands if you ever do. I wonder how that would impact the number of people that actually come out and vote. I mean, it would seem like it should increase it, but
Right.
that'll be a question. Well, I know both of you just love to be on my show, so when you come next time, you know,
Okay.
it'll give us something to talk about, right?
Okay,
We
sure.
could do a post-mortem as to whatever it did. Okay. All right. Okay, Carol. You know, too bad. Carol always gets the really tough ones here. Tough job. Somebody's got to do it. I'm just kidding you. What type of this is a big one though. You hear a lot about this in the news. What type of identification do voters need to provide?
Ohio law actually provides a wide variety of options for voter for ID for them to bring to the polls. You can, of course, the most popular is a driver's license that people can bring, but you can we also accept a military ID, a utility bill, a paycheck from either your employer or the government, and we'll also accept bank statements. And the things that we don't accept are a passport, an out-of-state driver's license, Social Security cards or insurance cards, and our voter registration card that we send to you in the mail.
Does it have to have your picture on it?
No, all those options that I just listed to, only one is actually a photo ID, and that's your driver's license.
It seems to be a topic that comes up that, you know, you have to have a photo ID, but you don't.
No.
But
We've instructed our poll workers to ask for ID, not to ask for
necessarily
photo
photo.
ID.
Okay.
Right.
Well, that shouldn't be too difficult. I mean, some people don't have a photo ID. If you don't have a driver's license, maybe you don't. But
Correct.
Okay. Carol, I'm going to let you back clean up the
Okay.
very last one. I think you answered it before, but it's a good way to tie up the show here. The time has gone very fast. Where can voters go to get more information about the election and election process?
Okay, you can go onto our website, the Medina County Board of Elections. You can just Google that.
Okay.
And that will give you information about our hours, days that we're open, and anything about candidates, sample ballots, previous results, and current results then as the election day occurs.
Well, thank you. And thank you, ladies, for being my guest on Law Talk.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Comments made by John's guest on Law Talk are solely those of his guest and do not necessarily reflect the views of Celebrezze Community Legal Education Project. To view this show and others, go to www.czclep.org. In the Wandsworth area, a complete listing of dates and times of this broadcast, tune in to WCTV Channel 15 or log on to wandsworthcity.com and follow the links to WCTV. At Celebrezze, we're devoted to the education of today's legal issues. Fueled by the public's keen interest in our legal system and current events, Celebrezze is dedicated to the educational venues aimed at enhancing the understanding by all citizens, regardless of age, education, occupation, or wealth. A function of the Celebrezze Community Legal Education Project.